I think it's pretty safe to say that I love Mario and Nintendo and platformers in general, really. Hell, even my favorite fighting game is a platformer from Nintendo that heavily features Mario, so please believe me when I say that I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Not too long ago, Nintendo decided to celebrate Super Mario Bros.' 35th anniversary by announcing and subsequently releasing a game called Super Mario 35. Now, Super Mario 35, if you can tell by what's going on over here, is a battle royale version of Super Mario Bros. And in spite of the general tone that this video is going to take on, this game is pretty dope. There was a lot of clever work that had to go into figuring out how to turn this into this. And all things considered, they did a pretty good job. But I got issues. Now, everything I'm going to be saying in this video is coming from a place of care. I love the concept of this game. I love Mario. I love platformers, and I love Nintendo, and I want to see it all come together in a very, very fun and engaging and exciting way, and in a way that keeps the game alive for the foreseeable future, because as it is now, I don't see it surviving for even the very limited amount of time that we have to play it. Oh yeah, there's the whole it's only available until March of next year thing. Good job, Nintendo.
Please, no Johns.
I've been having a lot of fun with Mario 35. I think it's a fantastic game, it's a fun experience, but it could be so much better. And as much fun as it is, I think it cripples itself in a significant way. And it starts before you even start actually playing the game. One of the first things that you're going to do whenever you want to play a game of Super Mario 35 is you're asked to select a level. Now, if you're anything like me, you're going to assume that this level selection is going to be like a vote for what the first level is going to be, especially in your first game. You select the only level that you have available to you, which is going to be 1-1 at the very beginning, and from there you start to play. Now, because 1-1 is so easy, chances are pretty good that you're going to get to the end of the level, then you're going to move on to the next level, and you're going to go to probably 1-2. You know, all's normal, fine and dandy. So you get all the way to the end of 1-2, and then you go back to 1-1 when you're done with that? Wait. What's going on here? Why am I back here? Alright, fine. You're back in 1-1. Just clear it again. Except, now you're back in 1-1 again. Hold on. Am I in purgatory right now? Am I in purgatory right now? Why am I still here? Am I just cursed to finish this level forever? In my opinion, this is where one of the first big missteps of Mario 35 shows its head. So let me explain. This level select screen doesn't work like you probably expect it to. What this level select screen does is tells the game that you want this level to go in the bucket of levels that are available for this specific match. So let's say I pick this level and I put it in the bucket, and then you pick this level and it goes in the bucket, and then maybe somebody else decides to pick this level and that goes into the bucket. Now, if we were the only 3 people in the match, what would happen is those 3 levels would be put on a playlist, and those 3 levels are going to be the only levels that we'd see for the course of this match. If all 3 of us instead picked 1-1, we'd see 1-1 over and over again. Which, if you played on launch day, or very close to launch day, that's probably what you saw anyway. Unfortunately, in a move that is patently Nintendo, none of this information is given to anyone, anywhere on any of these screens. So how people even figured that out, it's beyond me. I had to watch a YouTube video to even figure out what this stuff meant. But because this information isn't directly given to us, we're given no choice but to make a guess or an assumption about what it means. Not everybody is going to take the time to look up a YouTube video or look up online what it means when you select one of these levels. So inevitably, you're going to have a lot of people who think what I thought and are going to want an easy first stage and are probably going to vote for 1-1 or 1-2. And then you're just going to see those about 1 million times in the match. And it may not sound like a big deal outside of just kind of getting bored of playing 1-1 and 1-2 over and over again, but playing easy maps with easy enemies for so long in the same match has a kind of ripple effect on the rest of the gameplay. 1-1 is a great place to rack up time and rack up power-ups with relative safety because there's not really many obstacles or pits in your way. There's even a very easily accessible star about halfway through the stage that'll take you almost completely to the very end. 1-2, as it turns out, is a very, very powerful level where it turns out you can get about 80 coins on top of a very easily accessible star, on top of a warp zone at the very end that will allow you to skip levels and kind of push forward in the queue much quicker. Anybody who is competitive and knows about how powerful 1-2 is probably going to stay on 1-2 for as long as the game lets them. If you go to a warp zone and you see 1-2 at the end, you're just going to go to 1-2 again because you need money. Repeating this level as often as possible is one of the best things you can do in terms of strategy. It's safe, it's lucrative, and it's easy. And with a power-up at the very beginning and a warp zone at the end, it's hard to go wrong with this level. But it still has the easy enemies, and the whole experience is still going to end up very repetitive. If you think that I'm overstating just how many times you're going to be clearing these stages in a match of Mario 35, then just look at my level select screen. You can see the numbers right here. I've beaten 1-1 about 100 times, and I've beaten 1-2 about 2/3 of that amount. And then the rest of the clear counts on the rest of the maps are very, very low by comparison. I can guarantee that if you find any video or any streamer playing this game, the relative clear counts are going to look very, very similar. Unfortunately, I don't think that if this information was actually given to all the players, that it would fix the problems with the level order and the problems that causes. So one of the big reasons I really started to notice how much of an adverse effect all of this level repetition ended up having on the game is because overall, Super Mario Bros. 35 feels like a very slow burn. If you've gotten to the end of any of your matches, or if you've won any of your matches, you'll probably realize that each match takes quite a long time. In fact, Cosmic can probably beat the game 3 times before anyone finishes a match of Mario 35. Matches can very easily last up to 20 minutes, with the first half of them not being very exciting at all. And while part of the reasoning for that is because the level selection system is so jank, the other part of the problem is because of how jank the enemy propagation system is. If you don't know, every time you kill an enemy on your screen, then that enemy gets sent to a player that you have targeted over on the left or the right side. It can be any enemy in the game. It can be a Goomba, it could be a Koopa, it could be a Lakitu, it could even be a Bowser. It'll get sent to whoever you have targeted. If you have one person targeted, fine, it'll send that one to that one person. But if you have 7 or 8 or 9 people targeted because you have selected attackers and all these people are attacking you, then that one Bowser that you killed is going to turn into 7, 8, or 9. More on that in a moment. But if the only thing that you happen to be killing for the first 5 or 10 minutes of the match is just a collection of Koopas and Goombas, then you're not really going to have anything threatening in your way. You're going to have stars to plow through them. You're going to have very easily predictable enemies to jump over or jump through or kill with a shell. Hell, the Koopas are going to give you their shell to make everything easier on you. And on top of all of that, every enemy that gets sent to you and every enemy that you kill adds to your time bank here in the top left right corner. And by the time you get 2 or 3 minutes into the match, you've got that capped out at 400, and you have absolutely no risk of running out of time anymore. Sending enemies to each other actually does very little other than inflating their time bank. In fact, sending enemies more often than not becomes a very helpful thing to do. The opposite of what you would expect and what you would probably want in a competitive game such as this. You know, I think Tetris 99 had a very similar problem, but we're not talking about that game. So the first portion of any of these matches ends up being very boring most of the time because A, you end up playing the same few beginning levels over and over and over again while you bank up money and power-ups and time, and B, none of the enemies that are actually getting in your way are threatening in the slightest, and even if they are, it's not very long until you find another power-up because you're on such easy stages. It's a cycle of non-threatening things that builds on itself. There is a time, though, when this enemy propagation system becomes very, very threatening and, dare I say, actually way too far in the opposite direction. So all of these ground enemies, Bowsers, Koopas, Goombas, they all just kind of neatly stack up in a line for you. Even Hammer Bros might jump over something and cause a little bit of a problem, but ultimately they're not a big deal because there can only be so many things that are spawning at any given time, and they often bump into each other and get in each other's way, and a single shell can usually get rid of most of your problems. But where the ground enemies are relatively easy and straightforward to deal with, the air enemies like the Lakitus and the Bullet Bills, they're a bit ridiculous. You've probably played a Mario game and you've run across an enemy like a Lakitu who just kind of floats at the top of the screen just out of your reach, making it hard for them to get killed by you, but they're also throwing other enemies down on you that you can't easily dispatch. Having one of them come at you can be a fairly interesting and fun obstacle for you to try to overcome. Having two come at you, same thing, just a little bit harder and a little bit more to deal with. 3, now we're kind of pushing it. What about 30? What about 40? What about you kill an entire screen where you can't really see the background and you don't even remember what level you're on at this point because there's just too many things flying around, there's too many clouds, there's too many Lakitus, there's way too many Spinies, and then you move 2 inches forward and it starts all over again. This, my friends, is a Lakitu party, and in my experience so far, somewhere between every 1/3 to every 1/2 of games, if not more, ends up with this Lakitu party. This can very easily and very reliably end up happening if you find yourself targeting a lot of players, which you're probably going to want to do to 1, maintain attackers so you can maintain your time bank, and 2, hopefully get some player KOs from the enemies that you take out. Because every time one of your enemies kills one of the enemy players, you get some of their coins and you get some of their time. So it's beneficial to want to get lucky, and for that to happen, you gotta send them. So because you're incentivized into attacking as many people as you possibly can, if a Lakitu shows up, then you're going to send that Lakitu to every player that you have targeted. Unfortunately, every player that you have targeted also has you targeted because of the way that that feature works. So, when any one of them kills the Lakitu that they have on their screen, it's going to come back to your screen and the screen of everybody that they have attacking. Do you see where this is going? So let's say that you have 7 people targeted, and maybe on average, everybody that you have targeted also has 7 people targeted. I can see that happening very easily. As each player kills a Lakitu on their screen, it gets sent to the other screen. So before you know it, you can have 7 Lakitus on your screen because everybody killed the one that you sent to them and they sent it back. But it's not just you that has 7 on their screen at that point. Everybody has about 7 Lakitus on their screen. So eventually what's going to happen is somebody's going to get a POW or somebody's going to get a star, and just Lakitus are going to be flying everywhere. You're going to end up with this ridiculous Lakitu party, and from there it's just a matter of time until everybody's dead. As a player, there's very little you can do. Your best option is to clear the screen and then camp for as long as the game is going to allow you to. Your other option is to get a Starman. Obviously, this will allow you to move forward and plow through everything and hopefully finish the level with relative safety. You're not going to lose your power-ups. Any power-ups that you get are going to be safe until your Starman runs out. On top of that, every Lakitu that you destroy with your invincibility is going to add to your time bank and also send every single one of these Lakitus to every single person you have targeted on the left and the right, further propagating the problems. And you might be thinking, hey clown, what's so wrong with that? And I think by itself, it would be fine. I think it could be okay. I think it could be a lot of fun, because by then everybody would be on equal footing, trying their best to get to a level that they know has a Starman. They would be rewarded for knowing where the power-ups and invincibility locations are. They would be rewarded for knowing where to change screens to the subworld for relative safety and more coins. And they would be rewarded for knowing how and when to stall for time. But unfortunately, not everybody here is on an even playing field, because the frickin' roulette exists. Do you see this guy right here? Do you see him? This is a loot box. Okay? It's not a loot box that you pay for with money. It's a loot box that you pay for with the time that you've invested in this match by spending 20 coins for a chance at something good. But you know what? You don't always get something good. In fact, it seems like the more you try to use it in a short time period, the more it tries to screw you. I don't know, maybe this is just a clever commentary on the dangers of gambling and loot boxes and spending your money on something that you don't know is a sure thing, but I think that's giving it too much credit. So this guy right here, he can drop either a mushroom, a fire flower, a starman, or a POW block. Obviously, not all of these power-ups are created equally, and unless you're just an absolute god gamer with a very good presence of mind to remain calm in all of this nonsense, your gold from this little device right here is going to be a Starman. The more of those that you get, the better off you're going to be. Unfortunately, what seems to keep happening to me, and a lot of you can probably relate, you just get POWs after POWs after POWs, clearing the screen just to already be in a panic, and you move forward 2 inches just to spawn 16 more Lakitus that you really can't do anything about because you just got a POW instead of a useful power-up. Or maybe you just get a mushroom and you lose it immediately because there's no dodging any of this. Just the Lakitu party's not fun, man. Bullet bills and bloopers can also be pretty dangerous, but I don't think they have near the destructive capacity as an army of Lakitus. The Lakitu parties, in my opinion, just make the game less fun. It's just swinging way too far into the direction of danger and chaos that you can't really do anything other than hope to get lucky. And that's not what I want from my Mario game. If I wanted that, I would just go play Mario Party and then divorce all my friends because they got all the bonus stars and I got bubkis. So in conclusion, the matches start slow and boring and then often devolve into something that's barely even playable. At its core, Super Mario 35 is a fun experience, and if nothing else, it proves that without a shadow of a doubt, this style of battle royale and platformer merger is a lot of fun. And if in a few years' time we saw Super Mario Bros. 2 or 3 or Super Mario World get this same treatment, you know I will be there playing it, and probably complaining about it. Am I the problem? No, it's the developers who are wrong. But as fun as this game is, and as surprisingly faithful as it is to the original game, I can't help but think that the game feels half-baked in the design department, at least when it comes to the competitive aspect of the game, which is kind of the point, right? It's a battle royale. You gotta try and win. The game is very faithful to the original game, but I feel like more liberties needed to be taken to make the game more exciting and more interesting in the long term. New enemies to spice things up, a little bit more thought put into how enemy sending works, maybe something that stops Lakitu parties from happening and being so overtly destructive and unfun. Maybe if the scoring system was a little more thought out and robust and less dependent on you getting lucky and other players not spending all of their money, but also collecting as much as possible. Seriously, if you take a moment to break down the scoring system and the leaderboards, it just falls apart. There's actually a really interesting video by Cosmic, the Super Mario 1 speedrunner, where he gets as many people as he possibly can to try and join his match just by sheer luck, because this game does not have any friend capabilities. You can't play with your friends in this game, Nintendo. Why not? Just another freaking missed opportunity, dude. Anyway, he tries to get as many people as possible into his lobby through sheer luck and mitigating that luck as much as possible by using an external timer. He instructs them to all select very easy levels that you're not going to want to spend the $20 roulette on, and also collect as many coins as possible without using the roulette. In this way, he was able to game the system very, very easily in order to more than double the previous coin record. It's insanity, and the only reason that was able to work is because of the way the scoring system works. I'm not going to break it down here. I've already spent way too long on this video breaking down things that you probably didn't care about. Nothing against Cosmic for doing that, by the way. He's just playing with the tools that he's given and in a way that makes things more fun for him. And it makes good content, so go watch that video. It's pretty good. But as much fun as this game is, like I said, it feels ridiculously half-baked in so many ways. And I can't help but think that this game is probably only fun because Super Mario Bros. Is fun. It was fun 3 decades ago when we first played it, and it's a relatively timeless experience that's still fun to this day. It's got the nostalgia factor that keeps us around. If this wasn't Mario, people would be complaining more about the same things that I'm complaining about in this video. Unfortunately, though, this is a Nintendo game, and Nintendo, they don't really have a habit of listening to their players. Not very directly, anyway. So I don't expect anything to come of this video other than hopefully having made a pretty good video. Even after all of this, I'm still probably going to play some more Super Mario Bros. 35 because, in the end, it's an experience that you can't really find anywhere else. It's just, it could be so much better Anyway, thanks for watching. Extra special thanks goes out to my channel members, especially those at the highest tier of membership, Tech Fusion. Thank you. You're awesome. And to the rest of you, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and goodbye.